Okay, hey, how's it going, guys? It's Dean and welcome back to the channel. In this video today, we're going to be looking at what is the best DAW or digital audio workstation, DAW, whatever way you want to call it. What is the best digital audio workstation for you to use as a composer or music producer starting off, or maybe what is possibly the best one for you to switch to change it up from what you're already using currently. You can see on screen at the minute, the one I'm using and the one I do use the most is Cubase. It's just heavily used in sort of field that I kind of work in the most. I'll be getting into that more in the video. But yeah, let's get into this video and we'll start off with the first one. So the first one that we might as well start off with, since I am using it, is Cubase. Cubase on Windows is probably an industry standard for media composition. At this point, it's very, very intuitive. You can do a lot of things on it. I currently, once I switched from Mac to Windows, I tried out a few different DAWs and I ended up going with Cubase. Obviously, it has its fame and stuff from composers like Hans Zimmer, etc., using it. He also makes any sort of composers that work for him within Bleeding Fingers, and his company use Cubase as well. And many other companies use it. One of the publishers that I work for all use Cubase as well. It's a kind of an industry standard DAW at this point for media composition as a whole. It's on the expensive side of things compared to some of the other ones. I think if you go down here, we might be able to find the price. Actually, if I go to shop, we should be able to find it here. So you can see over here, Cubase 11. I'm on Cubase 9.5. I have not upgraded yet because I've been working on a few projects for a while and I don't really want to upgrade while I'm working on them. So I've left it for a while. But you can see here, Cubase Pro 11. Now I'm pretty sure it'll be cheaper for me because I'll be upgrading from 9.5, but it is an expensive DAW. It's not cheap. So do make sure that if you do decide to go with Cubase, you look at any tutorial videos that you think will be useful. Make sure you do all your research. That goes for any of these DAWs that we're looking at throughout the video. And make sure you do extensive research on them to think that you will actually use them. A lot of them do come with free trials as well, which is also quite good. So yeah, this got to just be overall a quick sort of glance at these DAWs. I'm not going to be breaking them down completely in full, but I'll give sort of little insights, maybe what they're used for the most, and I'll sort of break down the price range of them. But at the minute, €580 for Cubase. Does come with a lot of presets, a lot of really, really good functionality to get your tracks to whatever professional standard you're looking for. So and that is the one that I'm currently using as well. So yeah, that's the first one, Cubase Pro. Next we have the other industry standard, but on the opposite side of the pond through Apple and Mac, which is Logic Pro. Logic Pro is used in a variety of different ways. I love Logic. I really, really like Logic. Some people say it's a bit temperamental for building massive templates but I don't use big templates when scoring my projects. I tend to go from scratch a lot of the time, so that doesn't really bother me. You can do many, many things in Logic, and it has a very, very nice interface. I find it very intuitive and easy to work with. It's much more approachable price range as well. I think it should still be only €200. That's what it was for a while now. I think it still is. If I go to buy up here, it should be $200. So it's actually a bit cheaper in euros. So it's not expensive. It's very, very affordable for what it gives you. As I said, as media composition goes, this and Cubase would be the two industry standards for media composition. So obviously Logic is obviously Mac only. So if you're on Apple, I would advise giving Logic a look. It's regularly updated, has some great features throughout. Again, loads of amazing the stock plugins that come with it. So it's well worth checking out. A lot of producers even use Logic now as well. So it does have a broad sort of range of users, not just media composers use it. A fair few producers tend to use it as well. So that would be sort of go-to on Apple. So give Logic a look. Next, we have a growing sort of fan base with this one. I tried out Studio One when I first came over to Windows from Apple, and I did enjoy it. It has some very cool features. You can kind of see on the side here, which now I think Cubase 11 now kind of has, it's like a drop-in window. That's what Studio One's kind of known for, the drop-in features. You can kind of just drag and drop loads of stuff very easily. Has some very good editing features, a very good drum editor as well to put down really good drum patterns. Again, it comes with really, really good stock plugins. It's kind of, the good stock plugins is kind of like, you can expect all of them to have good stock plugins, really, to be honest. I don't think there's really anything that don't. I'm not sure the price at the minute of Studio One. So Studio One Professional, €405, bit cheaper than Cubase, and still a bit more expensive than Logic. You can also get Studio One Artist, so there's different versions of it. There's a Prime for free. You can cross grade if you already have it. So as I said, a lot of these DAWs will have upgrades involved in them, or so you can get a bit cheaper to get the new one, or they will have free versions to try out. If they have a free version, I would say try out as many free versions as you can. It'll give you sort of best of the. You might not get to use everything in it, but you'll get to use the majority of the stuff, I'd say, and it'll give you a good idea of the workflow. And if you kind of like the workflow of this DAW, and exactly, it'll give you a good sort of this breakdown and let you sort of clear your head and it does give you a better sort of judgment on what you want to go with. So let's move on to the next one. Next we have the infamous Fruity Loops FL Studio. As you can see, I actually do own FL Studio. I have it down here. It's a second DAW that I have. I only recently got it, and the reason I got it is because I'm in my spare time when I can, I am writing a bit of EDM music and doing one or two remixes, etc. Just for fun. I really love EDM music. I love doing remixes of songs that I enjoy. So I thought it would be kind of fun to do. I could probably do it on Cubase, but when it comes to that style of music, EDM, etc., FL Studio is the industry standard for that style of music. Most top producers use it. It'd be probably between that and Ableton, and then I said a good few have sort of transferred it from what I've seen over to Logic as well. But FL Studio has been around for a long, long time. It's probably the most cracked, which I don't advise anyone to crack music software. It does pay for it. Like, I'm not sure if I'm going to use this professionally. I'm more likely going to use Cubase more than I'm going to use FL Studio. But I still didn't go and crack it. I still want them paid for this product, because at the end of the day, people are putting their hard work into making these products. So you should have the respect and decency to go and pay for the product for them. There's a few different versions of FL Studio. So you have the fruity version, it's just 89. I got this producer version, which is the most popular one, 189. The signature 289, and then everything 489. So almost €500. So a very broad range of prices and very affordable. I think even up to the signature, like that's basically in between Studio One and Logic price wise. It was pretty affordable, I think. For as much as I was going to use it, I was like, oh, I'll just go with the producer. I think that would probably give me enough. And you can see exactly the breakdown of what is given and what's missing from each one compared to the other. So if you're into EDM music, or you want to sort of do DJing, etc., I would strongly suggest looking at FL Studio. I'm only learning it, but I'm finding it quite easy to learn. It's pretty intuitive. The piano roll is very good. It has very good drag and drop feature with the pattern system in it, etc. So I would look at it. I do know orchestral and media composers that do use it. Alex Mukala, he's very successful on YouTube, very big YouTube channel. He's always used FL Studio for his orchestral music. It just comes down to workflow. If you can find a good workflow and understand how the DAW works, well, then you can use it whatever genre you want to write in. Like, you could say, oh, well, then why didn't you just keep with Cubase and do the EDM music in Cubase? I also got this, one, because I could afford it, it wasn't too expensive, and two, I think it's very useful to learn other DAWs, and also to give my sort of brain a break. If I'm physically sort of stuck on a track, or I'm hitting a bit of a mental block on Cubase, I like having the option to then leave Cubase and work in a completely different sort of environment, a different scenery, compared to Cubase. So FL Studio, I can open up FL Studio and I have to learn new things, and I can see different plugins. Also for that style of music, like the EDM and stuff, FL Studio has some very good stock plugins that are just straight away suited for that genre of music. It has loads of vocal chops and all those different styles that are suited straight towards those type of genres. So out of the box, it's very good. So that is why. But then when it comes to media composition, it's not exactly intuitive. Well, it didn't used to be in the past. I'll need to try it out, but it wasn't fully intuitive with video player, etc. So you just have to weigh up to see what has its positive and what has its negative. But that's FL Studio. So let's move on to the next one. Next we have, and I'm gonna say probably my least favorite out of all of them, Ableton. Even though Ableton is a very, very popular DAW, it's mainly, it'll be used a lot by producers and DJs, used heavily in live because it's apparently very, very good for a live setup for DJs and artists, etc., for doing live shows. Um, Very good for sound design. I know certain composers that only use it for sound design. They don't really compose their scores in it, but they will use a lot of the audio experimentation you can use in it, etc. So if that's maybe good for you, you can give it a look. I just find, I'm not sure. I just find it a bit grey, a bit bleak. Yeah, I'm not crazy about the interface. I'm not crazy about a few different things on it compared to other DAWs. That's all it is really. Um, but price wise, it's not too bad, as you can see. Like it's pretty good. Um, so you can go check it out if you want. As I said, I've tried it. Don't really like it too much. If you have bought any products, a lot of the time, like all the MIDI keyboards I've purchased over the years, they always come with a free version of Ableton Live Lite. It's usually the most up to date Ableton version, just the light version, so it's probably missing a few features, etc. Have a look. You might have a slip like that with something you've recently purchased, and then you can go give Ableton a try, or you can try for free up here. And anyways, I was also meant to say you can try FL Studio. Previously, you can try FL Studio for free as well. You can. So yeah, if you're into maybe some sort of sound design, maybe performing some live sets, I'd say maybe give it Ableton a look. Second last, Reaper. I have only used Reaper once or twice. The reason why I have it here is because one of the price range, I'm pretty sure it is very cheap, and it also has some interesting features that even some of the big, more expensive DAWs like Logic and Cubase uh, don't. Not that they don't have, but they don't do as well as Reaper. Um, I find Reaper very, very easy to use. The interface is quite simple on it. Not the Well, when I used it years ago, it wasn't the most appealing interface to an extent, if you want to call it that, but still very, very easy to use. Um, it's not expensive. I'm trying to find a price here, but I can't purchase. Maybe I can find a price. Yeah, like the commercial license, the full commercial license is 225, so probably around €200, same price as Logic. Or you have the discount license. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but $60. I'd heavily look into that to see how exactly you get that discounted license, because if it only costs $60, well, that is a steal to look into. I think Reaper might struggle with video, and I think that's why some people don't like it. But if you're into video game composition, it's very intuitive with in-game stuff like Fmod and WYs for audio implementation for game composition. It's very, very useful. And the video game side of things, so if that interests you, I would maybe say give Reaper a look. A lot of the time when people work professionally in the industry, they actually a lot of people do use two DAWs, and anyways, and then obviously a lot of people just kind of stick to the one. But I do know a lot of people that maybe use Cubase, and then if they are doing some video game music, they will jump into Reaper because it just has certain features that work better. It's just the way it goes. As I said, it all comes down to workflow and what kind of suits you. But yeah, so I'd give Reaper a look if you're looking at maybe video game music. Last, and I wouldn't particularly consider this a DAW, even though it is, but Pro Tools, very, very expensive. Again, I wouldn't consider it a working DAW like Logic or Cubase, etc. What Pro Tools is mainly used for is for audio editing and live recording. It would be the industry standard for that in studios, like big studios, setting up recording sessions. Most people do recording sessions through Pro Tools and edit all the recordings through Pro Tools, etc. I've used it only I think twice in the past when I was in university for a project. I didn't find it the most intuitive to use straight away. I did eventually get used to it, but I wasn't doing a lot of extreme editing on it. It was simple enough what I had to do for the project that I was doing. So maybe if I had to do something a bit more serious, I might have struggled a bit more with it. But you can give it a look. Uh, I do know I've seen one or two people on groups saying that they actually do compose in Pro Tools, but apparently you can get a bit heavy on your operating system and whatnot. So yeah, it's up to you really. Now it says here that it's starting. Now this is actually, sorry, this is subscription. So if you subscribe to it, it's not as bad. But to buy, which I'm not sure where the full price has actually gone on it, but I know to buy Pro Tools, it is expensive. It ain't cheap. So I would, yeah. I think the price range also pushes people away from it unless you know you're going to be doing sort of professional audio editing and audio recording. Um, I might not maybe look into it, but like anything, if it interests you and you think it's going to suit your workflow, well, then by all means, it will offer you everything that you need. So do have a look at it. So now back to my DAW Cubase. Just trying to basically wrap up the video. Yeah, that was all sort of the DAWs that I've used to some sort of extent, some more than others. I've haven't used Digital Performer, which DP used to be very popular, but I'm not sure if it still is, to be quite honest. I'm not sure how many people still use it. A lot of famous composers used to use it in the past, which really helped it grow. But again, I'm not sure how popular it still is. Other than that, I currently use Cubase. Love it, really enjoy it. I have used Logic quite a lot, and I still, if I'm on a Mac, I'll still load up Logic, and I'm still pretty handy enough with it because I've used it quite a bit. Currently learning FL Studio, so that'll be another one. So that'll be kind of the three that I've had the most experience with. Tried a bit of Studio One. I just end up going with Cubase over because Studio One isn't very good for visuals and video player, and at the end of the day, if you're pursuing sort of media composition, you might want a good video player, which Cubase has. Granted, in Cubase 9.5, which I have at the minute, you cannot export audio with video, which is a really bad feature. I'm not sure why you couldn't do that. You couldn't Logic if you're doing a rescore of a scene or composing a scene. When you're finished, you just press export, and Logic will bounce out the audio, completely sync to the film or video how you've composed it, and that'll be it. Cubase doesn't do that. The upgraded version of Cubase does do that, so I will, once I'm done my projects, upgrade Cubase, so I do have that feature because it'll be very useful. But that was one of the things that made me kind of pick it over Studio One, just for workflow and other things. So yeah, I hope people found this video some helpful in some form. I just want to give sort of a little breakdown of each one, show kind of the price range, and say, yeah, if you are starting out as a composer, just make sure you do your research on all sort of digital audio workstations on Facebook, YouTube videos, and get whatever free trials you can to give them all a good try. And then once you've kind of figured out, well, then take the plunge and get writing. And if you're already on a DAW that you think, oh, it doesn't fully suit your workflow, well, same to you. Go and have a look at what digital audio workstations might do what you need it to do. As I said, if you're with Studio One, but you have a film coming up where you might want to write for Screamable and you might need to change away from Studio One. That's just the way it goes. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I'm hopefully going to be bringing 2 next week if I can, but definitely next Sunday again we'll be back with another video. Please leave in the comments maybe what topics you'd like covered in the videos. Also, thank you very much on the support of the last video. That one did very, very well. It's already broke, I think, 500 views. I gained probably around 15 subscribers off it. So anyone that's subscribed, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Do get involved. Leave comments on the videos. Let me know what topics you'd kind of like me to cover going forward. And yeah, if you enjoyed, leave a like on the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you on the next ones, guys. Bye bye.